Well, it is a Sunday afternoon. It's 2 weeks after the video that I'm about to show you. And I said that I'm not editing videos, and I'm not going to edit any of it out. But I didn't want to post it without some kind of a little bit of an explanation of what has happened. So I'm going to let you watch the video, and then let's talk about this, because it's been 2 weeks and I've been processing it since then, trying to figure out if this is something that I should share or not. I did share it with a few close friends, but it's taken me a minute to understand and figure out what exactly I should do with this information. So here's the clip, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it for a second.
I don't want to record this video. He told me I need to, and I can see the place that was in my vision. Watching a documentary. Where are we? Netflix? What are we on? I don't even... YouTube thing. What is this called? The real Mount Sinai. Shocking Exodus evidence in Saudi Arabia. We're like 7.5 minutes into this thing, and they're showing footage from this place that they claim is the real Mount Sinai, not the one that people traveled to. And the split rock that they have here is like in the middle of the desert, and they're panning around, and you can see this landscape. This is where my vision was. This place is where I saw the lightning. This is where I saw the battle. I don't know if this is the real Mount Sinai as they claim, but this is what I saw in my vision. This is right here in front of me. I don't even know what to do with it. I can't even explain what is in my heart and in my stomach. I feel I can't explain it. This is what I saw. So if you want a picture of what I was trying to describe of the desert plains and the mountains in the back, and the wall of rock, the mountain off to the right, and I was standing up on a hill. This is the place. So if you want to see it, find that thing on YouTube, I guess. 7 minutes or so in, and they're panning all over this place.
So that video that you just watched, for people who know me personally, it's pretty uncommon for me to be upset like that. I don't get really wound up crying, and I was probably just a couple steps shy of hysterical that day, because what I saw in front of me, it was, let me just say it this way. To have a vision and to know that God is showing you something and having faith in that and believing it is like, it's a step of faith anyway, right? It takes you a while to overcome the am I crazy part of it and believe what you're seeing. And then to have confirmation of what you saw, that not only, are you not imagining it, but this is a real place. A real place on earth that I showed you. man, that colliding of those two things was overwhelming. I was overwhelmed by what I saw. And it was funny because we were just sitting in our living room that night. My husband was watching, I guess, YouTube videos on the television. I was on my phone or something, goofing around with my own stuff. And I remember looking up and seeing that video. And he was kind of in between, like just scrolling, looking at stuff. And I said, "What is that one?" You know, because it had that title on it of like the real Mount Sinai, whatever. And it drew my attention. And so he's like, "Yeah, I've heard about this before." And so he clicked into it and started watching it. And I was like, it's interesting. But we get just, like I said, a few minutes, 7 or so minutes into it. And I start to feel like I've seen this place before. Kind of like, it's like if you've been brought into a building from one door, and you know the place and you're familiar with it. And then suddenly somebody brings you in from a side door and everything's a little different. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know where I'm at, right? Or you're driving around town and you find a side road that drops you out somewhere where you suddenly recognize. It was sort of like that. It was the same place, but it was looking at it from a different angle. And so when I first saw it from that angle, I was like, this feels familiar. Like, what is this that I'm looking at? And so the more I watched it, and they kept panning all around this place, and I was like, I had him pause. I was like, wait, pause this and go back. I must have watched it 5 times back to back of them moving the camera around this place because my eyes couldn't almost comprehend what I was seeing. It was like what had been in my head came to life right in front of me. And it was shocking. And it was, I didn't even know how to respond to that. And then as I'm like starting to get upset, and I don't know why, like it hit me so in such overwhelm, and I felt strongly prompted to pick up my camera and record what I was seeing. And so I did, and anybody who knows me knows I don't like to cry in front of people. I don't like that's just not a type of vulnerability that I'm very comfortable with. And so I felt the prompt and I did it anyway, and I was like, I'm never gonna share this. But maybe, and so I recorded it, and then a few minutes later, in like at the 10-minute or so mark in that video, that little short documentary, they start talking about a cave that's on the side of the mountain that they call Elijah's Cave. And I lost it again. There is a little short video clip of that, and I'm not going to probably bother to put it here, but I don't know if I had said it. I think I said it in my video where I talked about the visions, but in the vision where I saw the battlefield and the lightning, I said that I was standing in the same place on that rock where I stood during my EMDR session where God healed me in October. And that was that same place, but what was below me and what was in front of me from that viewpoint had changed into this place for those 2 visions. And in my EMDR sessions, there was always this little cave behind me, and I drew a picture of it. I have a picture that I made that I shared out months ago of this location in my healing session. And so when they started showing this cave overlooking the plains, the desert plains, where I had stood on a rock outside the cave in my healing session and had seen these things, it was so, overwhelming is not the right word. It was, I still don't know what exactly to call it. It was like God wanted me to see this place, and I still am trying to understand why. And I have spent 2 weeks praying about this and trying to figure out, like, okay, Lord, I know you prompted me to turn on my camera, and I don't know why, if not to share it with somebody, with people, but what good does it do? to share something like that? Is it to feed my own ego? Because if so, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I already knew in my visions. I knew what he had showed me was real, like that it was important. So having the confirmation that it was a real location didn't really change anything. And so I came to understand and know that he wanted me to have confidence in what I was seeing, that it was real and true. But I still struggled to know, like, to what end? Why is that important? My chicken is going to start making her egg sound. I don't know if you'll be able to hear her in the background. Somebody just laid an egg. They get really proud about it. Yeah. But, God has done amazing things in my heart when it comes to pride and ego, and I've had very humbling experiences, and I was like, I'm not going to post this if it's something that would come from that place, and I really have searched myself to make sure that that's not true. And no, I don't feel pride in it. I feel humbled that God would show me that he would care and love me so much that he wanted me to have that reassurance that I'm like, daughter, you're not crazy. Like, this is a real place. I don't understand its importance to, like, the location itself. I have no idea if it is anything to do with the real location of Mount Sinai or anything like that. But to me, it was almost like, I don't even know how to put it. I don't have the right words for it. It wasn't exactly fear in sharing it, but it was like, why would I share this? And then I was like, well, can this do harm? Is this something that could do damage to anything? Should I not share it if it's going to be detrimental? And I have searched my heart, and I can't think of a way that it is, but I don't know for sure. But I came to the conclusion today that if I believe that my visions are real, which I do, and I believe that God made it possible for me to know that it's a real place, I can't see any reason why that would benefit, the devil to show me that it was a real place. So I don't think that it came from a place of bad intent. And so then I thought, well, okay, is there any reason why I should doubt that God's goodness would bring about harm in this? And I know, and if I trust and know that he will make all things work for his good, then I don't need to be afraid to share it. And yeah, if his hand is in that, which I believe it is, then I don't need to be worried. And that's where I've come to with it. I wish that I had, I don't know, I've always admired Elijah because he had so much faith, and I'd love to know more, because he doesn't really have much of a backstory until he shows up and starts, like, calling down fire from heavens. But so we don't know what Elijah went through to become who he was and to have the amount of faith that he had, but I've always admired his story in the Bible, and I wish that I had faith like that sometimes, that I would just know that, God is with me, and I feel that very often, and I feel his presence, and he tells me it all the time. But to have that faith that Elijah had would be something that I pray for and aspire to. I'd love to know his backstory. I'm going to have to ask him when I get to meet him. But I didn't want to post this without some additional context. I know it's a very strange video. I was worried that posting something like that right now, with the weird internet hysteria, I guess, of end times predictions and I don't know, there's just a flood of dreams and visions and things, experiences, encounters that people are posting about online right now. So I don't think there's any doubt that there's a spiritual movement happening in the world, for good and for bad. I believe that both sides are definitely at play, and it's not always easy to discern the truth between, like, what you're seeing. Is it real? Is it just clickbait nonsense? Is it... It's hard to tell. And so I'm trying to be very careful about not consuming a whole bunch of that content, because it really has a way of just running away with you, and then you get all of these things in your head, and it starts impacting your dreams, and you start thinking you have dreams from God. I don't want to be in that place. I don't want that. So I'm trying to be cautious to not watch a lot of that. You still see it, scrolling through on stuff, and you can't help but notice the comments that are out there and people who are experiencing things. There's a very intense move of the spirit world happening right now. I can't deny that. I have no idea if anything that I've seen, any of the visions that I've had, really point to that. I don't believe that we can know the time that Jesus is returning. I don't believe that he has given us that. I do think that it's easy to be deceived, and that if you are watching that type of content, even this video, like, you use caution. Even with my own, like, what I'm sharing with you, don't just take this and the first thing impression that you have, just run with it, because it might not be right. Pray about it. Pray about these things a lot. If you're spending more time consuming that content than you are in reading your Bible and in prayer, then you may be misled. So be very careful. I really urge you to just consider everything carefully, I suppose, is the only way I can say it. The great deceiver is not called that for no reason. The things that I've seen, I've tried to really weed through and make sure, like, do I feel like these are for good or from God or not? And I believe that he showed me recently the difference. It's almost like one day as I prayed, he allowed those other types of things to come to me, and I knew immediately that it was not from him. It was like I could just swat them away. It was like, no, that's not from God, that's not from God, that's not from God. It was like back to back to back. It was like he allowed me to see what that looks like, so that I could know that what I have received from him is different. And on top of that, this confirmation that this place is a real place. And so I'm learning, and I know that he loves me enough to know that I am a child, learning to hear him and learning to understand what it is that he's saying to me. So I have to have faith in that. I have to believe that his ability to lead me and show me is stronger than the enemy's ability to deceive me, especially if I stay close with him and am in him in everything that I do. I've given him everything that I have, everything that I am. So I have to trust that. I have to, because the world is more and more crazy all the time. It's hard to even know what's real. The videos are all being generated by AI, and there's these deep fake things going on, and you cannot tell what's real most of the time online. So I'm trying to be very aware of that and very careful with that. And you should be too. Don't be deceived. Pray about this. If this hits you strongly and you think that there's something in it for you, pray about it a lot. That's all I can say. But I love you, and I would actually like to pray right now with you, if you'll allow me. Lord, whoever it is that is watching this video, you had me record this, and I know that there must be somebody that is supposed to see it, and I don't know who that would be. I don't know why it would be helpful to anybody but me. But Lord, I trust your judgment. I trust what you will do. I trust that you're going to move everything in this world to your good and to the good of your children. And so I give it to you. If nobody is ever meant to see this, then it will sit on this account, Lord, and that'll be the end of it. And if somebody is meant to see it, then they will find it, and it will serve the purpose that you intended. Lord, I pray for discernment for anyone who watches this. I pray that they'll be able to tell your voice from the voice of the enemy. I pray that you will be with them as they try to understand, and don't let them be led astray. In the powerful and beautiful name of Jesus, I pray these things, Lord. Amen. I love you guys. I hope that this is useful for somebody. I don't know who exactly it's for. It did help me a little bit to know that he sees me. He's trying to reassure me that I'm not crazy. Maybe there's something in it for somebody else. I don't know. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.